I want to give you a quick tour of how the Practice Space app works for students and the power behind it for both the teacher and for the student. So when you first log in, I'm logged in as myself as a student. You're going to see that you have the opportunity to choose to practice or to check out your statistics. In the bottom left corner, you can choose what your practice goal is. Every student should have a different goal based on their abilities, their ability to focus, and their particular musical goals. Generally, the more advanced the student is, the more time they're going to need to practice. So if you're trying to figure out what that goal needs to be, just let me know. In most cases, we've already discussed it, but if not, we can make some alterations and discuss that. So when you're ready to practice, you just hop on in and then you press play. It gives you a little bit of time to count down to be able to practice. And the first thing you're going to see in the practice app as soon as you start practicing are the notes from your last lesson. So right there, you're going to have your general notes that I put for you. And then if you click on assignments, you're going to see what your particular assignments are for that week. I just want you to see the power in case you haven't noticed. So if you look into scales, again, there's going to be details of what scales maybe you need to be playing, as well as attachments to fingering charts for your scales that are right there. And also, I now also have some new videos, teaching videos like this one that teaches you how to tuck your thumb and gives you my tips and tricks and teaching right at the tips of your fingers while you're in your lesson, while you're at home, when you're not able to have access to me during your lesson. So there are a few of these little videos sprinkled into the app now. Continue to look for more as I have more time to develop more. So say we're done practicing scales. If you have a piece of repertoire that you're working on, there might also be attachments there. There might be like a link to YouTube where you can watch somebody else perform that piece, or sometimes you might actually have a piece of music linked in with the PDF of it that you can then send to the printer through the share button at the top. Sometimes you will also see videos that I have included that have the teacher duets for whatever lessons you might be working on as well. For older students, you might have a link here to do your listening log, which will link you to a Spotify playlist that I created, so you can listen to various music. And then from there, you can pop back to your listening journal. It'll head you over to a form where you can fill out your listening journal log. For the younger students, you might not have all of those things yet, but sometimes there will be attachments to, say, your 5-finger patterns that have your fingering charts, or actually your note names listed there in your 5-finger patterns. I purposefully don't write those out on music because sometimes students are playing their 5-finger patterns before they're able to read music on the staff. So that's just a quick tour of what it looks like when you log in to practice your notes. So you can check off if you've practiced something that day. So if you practice your scales, you can check that off as you work through your list of requirements for your practicing. You can also, during your practice session, record videos of yourself playing something and upload it there for me to be able to watch later. And you can also see notes from your past lessons as well. Also in the app, you have access to a metronome right there, so you don't have to leave the app. The app actually does know when you leave it, and it will stop keeping track of your practice record there. It'll pause it, but if you use the metronome inside the app, it doesn't pause, so you can go up or down. You can change those speeds. Just another little tip here, you never want to increase speed while you're practicing by going from something like 114 to 115, 116. That's going to drive you crazy. You always want to move in increments of like 4, 3 in the lowers range, 4, even 6 at the higher range. So I've been practicing wherever it was, right around there, I think, on one of my pieces, and it'll save that. When you are done practicing, which it will require you to practice at least 3 minutes to require that, you have the option here to either say you're done practicing, say you actually made a mistake, you want to keep practicing, or save the session, then add more. When I'm done, I always say I'm done practicing, because you can always add more that day later. And then you get the chance to rank yourself here, so you can say I had a really great practice session, or it didn't go so good, and then you can leave notes to yourself about, well, this is what I want to practice next time, or this is what went well, or work on this next time. Whatever you want to do, you can do that. So let's just pretend that I'm done practicing. You can see all of your history here. So apparently I didn't feel super awesome about some of my practice sessions today, which is interesting. And you can see when you practiced, when you didn't practice. You can check to see your streaks, how many streaks you've had. You can check the leaderboard and you can see where you rank with our other students in the studio last week, this week, and then overall. So that's kind of fun. You can challenge yourself there. Little note on that, it's not challenging you and comparing you against who practices the most. It's about who practices to reach their particular lesson goals, which I love. You can also see your gems. You earn gems when you check off items that you have practiced, or when you practice, when you reach your goals. And then you can spend those gems in the online shop here to purchase different avatars, or to choose different backgrounds, or to use a power up that says you'd like to freeze your streak. And over time, gradually, we will have more awards that I can mail directly to you. You can also see your overall statistics if you want to. So there's a lot of power in this app, but mainly I wanted you to see what it looks like, and especially with the assignments that are linked there. So we will be using this app as part of our lessons moving forward, and how we share both lesson notes and how you keep track of your practice record, and then as well for whenever we have our practice record challenges.